and prosperity. Don't let nobody take away from what God told you. Listen to me. Don't let nobody take away from what God told you. Because our Heavenly Father don't play about us. And you shouldn't either. You shouldn't either. Big dog. Receive this message. Yeah, that's real. You solidified. You solidified. And sometime in life, you got to bust down that door to get where you're going. You got to bust down that door to get where you're going. Talk that talk, George. They try to hold you back. These people really try to hold you back by locking the door and throwing away the key. But they forgot that you are the key. They forgot that you are the key because God ordained your life. He ordained your life. And you didn't hate on nobody. You didn't hate on nobody. You just waited your turn. You just waited your turn. You waited your whole life for this. You shed a lot of tears for this. And now it's up. Now it's up. It's big dog season. Turn them up, George. Yeah, that's true. You the true definition of survival. Mm-hmm. Talk to him, George. You the true definition of survival. And you're not losing no more. You're not losing no more. Either you win or you learning. Either you win or you learning. Losing is behind you. Because you paid the price to live that life. Talk that talk. You paid the price to live that life. And you're on your way to the top. You're on your way to the top. And not everybody can go with you. Not everybody can go with you. Because they folded under adversity. They folded under adversity. But you didn't. You didn't. You look at adversity right now and say, come on with it. Because you're big dog. Turn them up, George. Yeah, that's right.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, it's big dog season. How y'all feeling right now? I hope y'all are feeling amazing. I hope y'all are feeling abundant. Welcome to Coffee and Crypto episode number 114. My name is Vincent Owens. I'm super excited, guys. We are live on YouTube right now. We're live on Zoom. Listen, go ahead and send this link out to somebody you love, like, respect. It is that time. It is that season. And it is big dog season. I'm talking about the season where truly, if you're going to be successful in this space of digital asset investing, you're going to have to really, really, really make some decisions right now that will change your life forever. Welcome to the podcast, y'all. Where you tuning in from, drop your city and state in YouTube, drop your city and state in Zoom. Let me know where you guys are calling in from. I love to see, go back and read these comments and see where the audience is calling in from, just to see if we're starting to make a global impact, right? To me, we started local, and now we're going global, right? So welcome to everybody who is a global viewer. Welcome to everybody that is a local viewer and everybody that's just all around the United States. I see we have San Diego, California. Shout out to San Diego on the line this morning. Shout out to each and every single one of you. You got the ATL in the building. ATL is definitely in the building. We got Gary, Indiana in the building. Shout out to Gary, Indiana. Who else do we have in the building? Let's check it out, man. Let's check it out as we wait for this time, as we wait for more people to dive in today, because today's call is going to be one that is extremely special. All right. Listen, I would assume y'all must not be anywhere. All right. Because ain't nobody dropped nothing, only 3 people. So I guess only 3 people is locked in with me today. And that's cool. I don't need everybody to be locked in. I promise you, we're going to get rich regardless. I promise you, I'm going to get wealthy regardless. I'm doing this to raise your spirits this morning. So listen, if you're on a spiritual vibration, if you're on a spiritual high with me, just drop where you're calling in from. And listen, if your spirits is low, then just go ahead and stay low. You know what I mean? Stay low. All right. Shout out to Chicago. Chicago is on, somebody's on the way to Chicago. Somebody is in Delaware right now. We got ATL in the building. All right. Shout out to each and every single one of you all that have taken the time to just go ahead and plug in with me this morning and just drop some love, drop some support, drop some energy in the chat box, because guys, y'all know that's how I thrive. All right. Y'all know that's how that's my fuel. You know what I mean? Just the energy that you all give me is the fuel for me to just take it to the next level. So I want to say I appreciate you all for engaging with me. And for you all that didn't engage, I want to ask you why. All right, I'm gonna ask you why. That's the biggest question. Why? Is it too hard to drop 3 letters? Is it too hard to say, hey, I'm from Florida, or I'm from Bankhead, or I'm from Kentucky? You know what I mean? If it is that hard, then I would tell you to go find an easier call. You know what I mean? Because remember, I see you all right? And remember, I come here every Tuesday and Thursday. Nobody pays me. It's free. It's free value. And I just want to put it out there for you guys. All right. So welcome to the call. I love each and every single one of you all. I'm just kind of stalling, waiting for some people to hop on because today's call is extremely important. All right. I don't want for people to miss it. I know people hop in a little later. So I just want to give you guys some time to just pop in real quick. You know what I mean? Get the energy flowing, get the blood up. You know what I mean? Because this is the 114th episode of Coffee and Crypto. Today, what we have to talk about is a lot of special things. We have quite a few topics. We're going to talk about FedNow. FedNow is launching in about 3 to 4 days. What does that look like, all right, for us as investors? What does that look like for us as citizens of the United States, okay? And what partnerships are working directly, okay, with this type of technology? We're going to talk about the minds of this technology and how, you know, are they trying to trick us from it being a CBDC? Are they trying to trick us from, you know, us focusing on this being a CBDC? You know, do they want to distract us? There's a lot of questions that we need answered. And the only way that we get the answer is by us sticking together, us working together, us staying plugged in together, because right now is the most pivotal moment in cryptocurrency that we have ever witnessed, all right, in our lifetime. Guys, welcome to the call. I'm gonna start off the call with I'm gonna start off the call really quick, actually with a quick video from Danielle what's her name? Danielle Carbano or I don't know how to pronounce her name. All right, but Danielle Carbano, I believe it is Cambone. Sorry. All right, y'all, I'm country. Danielle Cambone. All right, I mixed her name with Cardano and Cambone. I called her Cambano. All right, shout out to Danielle Cambone. This was an amazing interview from Crypto Capital. This gentleman, he's been in this space for a while. You know what I mean? His name is Eric Wade. And I enjoyed this interview just listening to this morning. So with that being said, welcome to the show, and let's get this movie on the roll.
It's not a central bank digital currency. It may be the backdoor plumbing to one, but it's nothing we should worry about. You think otherwise, though, correct?
Yes and no. And I'm one of those people who tries to think of both sides, two sides of the coin. So yes, I do, but I also have opinions on this that may be different. So I'm gonna take a piece of your opening where you said there's a lot of noise going on out there, and say the way we see it, yes, there is a lot of noise, but some of it's actually pretty pleasant noise. I mean, you could almost say music to our ears. And a lot of that has to do with the launch of FedNow. I guess I'm perpetually worried about the government having too much access to our money, tracking too much, following too much. The idea of a Fed coin, which Fed Chair Powell says, no, don't worry about a Fed coin. And I know a lot of people are saying, no, don't worry about a Fed coin. I'm perpetually worried about it, even if it's a 1% chance of it happening, right? So, but that's not really where we're going right now, and it's not what has me excited. What's got us excited is FedNow, and I'm wearing this particular shirt for a reason. I don't know how much your audience can see it. I didn't mean to be disrespectful by wearing a T-shirt on the Danielle
Well, you're always so polished.
So just based on that, I mean, y'all just pay attention. That shirt right there, okay, it represents something that is so special. And it's something that this gentleman's not really going to talk about, but it's on his shirt, right? We're talking about water, waves, ripples. There is a ripple effect, right? A tsunami that is coming into this market. And if you guys know anything about a tsunami, I want to ask y'all about some characteristics of a tsunami, right? What are some of the characteristics of a tsunami? Just give me one. What is the one main characteristic of a tsunami? Somebody let me know. What is that one main characteristic of a tsunami that really makes a tsunami extremely violent, okay, someone said large, right? Water goes out away from the shore first, take everything that gets in its way. Woo! Y'all coming with that fire. I didn't know y'all was going. Somebody said, my mom said destroys. Ooh. All right. I agree. But the one thing that I would say is it comes unexpectedly, right? A tsunami is unexpected. It hits you unexpectedly. You barely even thought it was going to be as big. They say, hey, a tsunami's on the way. And people start to prepare themselves. But there's different levels of tsunamis, the same way there's different levels of earthquakes, right? And so when you have been challenged, when you have been built in this mind frame from 90 years, right? We talked about the 90 years of our financial system being developed up to this moment on the masterclass that I did on Friday. How many people took the time to actually get on the free masterclass? I did it free. It was a free masterclass on Friday. Did anybody take the time to get on, right? I know we had quite a few people, but if you did, I know you got value because I got value teaching. I got so much value teaching you all. And that's where the value comes. Value comes by hearing, but then also more value comes when you go and teach it. And so I learned so much. It's something that I really, don't worry about it, y'all. If you couldn't get in, it's available. You can click the link. I'll actually be providing it today. You can click the link. There is a small deposit. There is a small, what do I call it? Not even a deposit. It's a donation, right? I actually took the smallest donation that I had. The way that I said, you know what? It was either I could have put it up online for free, right? Or I could have chose to go the donation route. I chose to go to the donation route for this particular mastermind because I gave it away for free for people that came, right? So the donation, okay, is $5. Why did I offer $5? It's because $5 was the smallest donation that someone made to me. I got a $5 donation. I was like, dang, okay, that's the smallest amount. That's the least amount. And I feel like everybody would feel good to be able to do that, right? So again, if you missed it, get up with me and I'll make sure that you have it. Okay, the masterclass was incredible because it was just a great, I would say, intro, right? Kind of like intro to where we're going right now, which is this shift of money, this shift of our financial system, okay? I'm sorry I kind of stuck on this a little longer, but it's so important to really see this down on his shirt right here, this wave, this ripple effect, right? But let him keep talking. I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes I go on a tangent, but I'm gonna let him keep talking so that we can keep progressing.
We know.
The idea is, here's the theme, is a flood of capital, a flood of activity. So what Fed Now really offers us is bringing the American banking system catching up from the 1960s. And I'll give people a little image to keep in their head is a lot of us have the app on our smartphone that we can take a picture of a check, right? And deposit the check by taking a picture of it, right? Sort of a high-tech innovation, but it isn't really. It's because our banking system is built around solving the problem of paper checks. Back in the 60s, they were really worried about people using so many checks. Takes a long time to actually move a check from one location to another location, from one bank to another. If you write me a check and you're using the Bank of New York or something, and I'm in California with Bank of California, it takes a long time for these checks to move. So they built this ACH clearinghouse system for money to move faster through banks and for checks to move. But really, we're still moving at the speed of checks. Now, we have images of checks now. That's why you go to the ATM, you deposit a check, and it says, would you like a picture of your check on your receipt? It's kind of convenient, but it's also because the banks are moving checks. They're moving images of checks, but we're still in that world. We're still in the world in America that was built for checks moving from place to place. Now, we're all Zelle and Venmos and PayPal's people, right? And we pay for things and you do your your dinner or whatever, and you debit card it, and it seems like the money moves right away. But that's only because there's agreements in place between all of these processors to make it look like the money moved right away. Or to say, well, we'll go ahead and credit Daniela as if she paid, and then behind the scenes, we're going to take 3 days to pay. Well, that's what FedNow changes. That's what FedNow solves, is all of these things that we think are digital money, right? PayPal, Venmo, et cetera. It isn't really. It's just they're floating the money faster. The system that was built to move checks and then upgraded to where we're moving pictures of checks, which really isn't that much of an upgrade. If you think about it technologically, it's about to go digital. There's about to be actual digital dollars, that there doesn't have to be a check. There doesn't have to be a third party like a Venmo or a PayPal that's saying, I'm going to go ahead and float that, so that if Eric pays, Daniela receives the money immediately, but there's a float there in Venmo or whatever it is. Well, that's all changing. That's what.
All right. So I'm just kind of going through what they talked about, right? And just the mindset behind it. Where we are right now with these floating checks, and like, I didn't even know that that's truthfully how it worked. I didn't know if I send someone $100 through Venmo, right? Venmo clears that for you because they have this money, right? They have this equity that's just sitting there, right? They have this liquidity within their company that allows for them to be able to float, right? It allows them to be able to float this actual cash. And so looking at that, the way that I see it is, we talk about retail versus wholesale on the central bank digital currency side. And they said FedNow is not going to be related to the CBDC, which I do believe as of right now that won't happen. But I do believe that they're setting us up with the infrastructure, with the backbone of this entire new financial system, which will be central bank digital currencies eventually. And maybe they'll come by 2025, maybe the full world, because that's when ISO 20022 should be completely implemented. Okay. Now, pressing forward. Okay, looking back, okay, this is from Earn Your Leisure. Top investment since 2000. Okay, the number one top investment since 2000 is Bitcoin. Okay, so crypto has the number one top investment since the year 2000. It's up over I'm not sure, but from what they say, it's up over 2 million%, almost 3 million%. The second most lucrative investment was tech stocks, right? The third was renewable energy stocks. The fourth was gold. The fifth was index funds, the S&P 500. All right. And the sixth, right, was real estate. Okay. Real estate. Now, if you have your money in any of these types of investments, I want to tell you that you are winning. Okay. This is something that, this is the future. Renewable energy, right? Dealing with our carbon neutral plans around the world. Tech stocks, which we know tech moves faster, artificial intelligence, just tech itself, crypto. So we are in the right space. Tokenization. We are in the right space. Be ready, right? Do not take your eyes off of these. Do not take your eyes off the prize. We are in the right space at the right time. And don't let anybody tell you that you're not. Okay. Now, this guy right here, his name is Talib. He used to be super influential, but now he seems to be very confused. And in this interview seems to have embarrassed the CNBC host with his arguments on crypto. Okay.
I think it was 9 or 10. Anyway, so here we are now, call it 13, 14 years in.
Yes.
this is a very long
Yeah, but think about it. It's
speculation
not-
if this is that,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I'm not,
But let's look at the crypto. Is it being used for real transactions? No. It is a cult.
In
It's the
parts of
first-
the world, it is
Yeah.
missing. With the unbanked
Okay,
or people in very
Okay.
high, where they make money and inflation is 30 to
Okay, so
40%,
let
and
me-
they have a cell phone and they're able to own something that doesn't depreciate
Well,
immediately.
it did exactly the opposite of its mission as inflation hedge because it collapsed when inflation
Collapsed to 30,000, but people were
Okay,
negative
you
at
can
$10.
But you can look at any stocks that reached $100 has started at $1 or $2. So
And a lot of those
when
collapsed.
you look at things, you don't look at the past. You look at the drawdown you can experience if
Right.
you own it when it's already mature. So the one, it's not an inflation hedge. Two, the thing is, it may be good for transaction for petty transactions, small amount of money, but
Right.
it's not good for real money laundering because it's very traceable. And three, it is pretty much the
Right.
first time in the history of the world we have had a cult,
Right.
cult coupled with a financial instrument.
what do you make of BlackRock now trying to pursue with an ETF? You have Citadel, you have a number of Wall Street players
Charles
who,
Schwab.
by the way, for a very long time, actually, were very negative, skeptical, just like you.
Yes,
Um,
I started positive on Bitcoin because
interesting.
I was disappointed with the Federal Reserve policy. But then I realized that you're going from Caribbean to Scylla. In other words, from something,
Right.
bad to something vastly worse. At least with Federal Reserve, we have transparency. We know what's going on. We can influence it. There's a system. But with crypto, tend to concentrate among big players, and it is how can I explain it? It's distracting, and effectively, what has happened thanks to crypto is we're going to have Fed now
Right.
rolling out next month. We're going to have the central banks are focusing on making transaction
Right.
most easier and faster for individuals.
Okay, so a lot of talk about Fed now, whole lot of talk about Fed now. And the reason why Fed now is needed, I truthfully believe, I mean, it was already coming, but I found these couple of clips. I found these couple of clips. I don't know if you guys heard, but this is some big news that's going on right now, where 10 depositors, right, had $13.3 billion in Silicon Valley Bank, and the FDIC bailed them out. From my understanding from this clip, a lot of these depositors were Chinese accounts. And so this wasn't about systemic risk. It was about bailing out the billionaires who got caught up. Listen to these couple of clips here.
The unanimous vote to invoke the systemic risk exception to the FDIC's deposit limit, was it warranted? Does it set a precedent for future crises?
I think it does. I mean, I think these banks are not systemic. Combined assets of $300 billion and a $23 trillion banking industry. The efforts the statement has been made that, well, they had to bail out the uninsured because they were worried about broader runs. But there's really no analysis to back that up. If that's true, bank regulators track deposit flows. They should be able to tell us what deposit outflows were like during the time period that these banks failed. It troubles me that they haven't provided that type of analysis. The other reason has been that, well, a lot of these startup companies needed access to their payroll accounts. Well, with an advanced dividend, they would have had access to a lot of liquidity anyway, using the FDIC's normal rules without any kind of bailout. And I got to tell you, kudos to Marty Gruenberg, the current chair of the FDIC, for a high level of transparency in his testimony. But he indicated there are $13.3 billion of deposits concentrated with 10 depositors. Those aren't small startups trying to get payroll. And you think about that, they're going to take it, they have about a 10% loss on the Silicon Valley failure. So they're not getting a 10% haircut. So that's $133 million per person. The FDIC, through a special assessment, is paying these very wealthy depositors. I think that's troubling. I do think they need a lot more explanation on this. They did what they did. Listen, I've been there. It's hard to make a decision. It's got to be a snap judgment sometimes. But boy, there's a lot of public cynicism about this, and they need to get more public information out. about why, whether it was needed, whether other deposit runs, and who exactly is benefiting and by how much by the bailout of the NN.
So the question that I have for you all is, do you feel that the FDIC, the U.S. Treasury, and just all these other entities within our federal government, do you feel that they are pushing an agenda to get rid of regional banks and completely just have, a certain amount of their partner banks, right? You have regional banks, then you have official partner banks. The difference between those is that with the FDIC, those regional banks are covered up to a certain amount. If those big billionaires take their money out of those regional banks and put it into Citi or Bank of America or Chase or BNY Mellon, the relationship that they have with, the Federal Reserve, the relationship that they have with the government puts them in position where, you are completely insured. You don't have that risk. They will cover your loss if you don't have it inside of these regional banks. And so I think that it's pretty fishy. And I believe that, they're setting it up. And so watching this video right here from March 16th of this year, this was with the Honorable Janet Yellen, right? And so she kind of got beat up, and y'all probably remember this interview, but I kind of want to bring it back because it was very important, especially in the time that we're in right now.
Fed board and I, in consultation with the president, determined that the failure to protect uninsured depositors would create systemic risk and significant economic and financial consequences.
So what is
And
your
we
plan?
made that determination.
Right. So
These
what is
two
your
banks.
plan to keep large depositors from moving their funds out of community banks into the big banks? I'm concerned you're about to accelerate that by encouraging anyone who has a large deposit in a community bank to say, we're not going to make you whole, but if you go to one of our preferred banks, we will make you whole.
Look, I mean, that's certainly not something that we're encouraging.
That is happening right now.
That is happening because depositors are concerned about the bank failures that have happened and whether or not other banks could also
No, it's
fail.
happening
And
because you're
it's-
fully insured no matter what the amount is. If you're in a big bank, you're not fully insured if you're in a community bank.
Well, you're not fully insured. And
You
the big-
were at Signature and
the big-
it just barely met that threshold. You were at Signature.
well, we felt that there was a serious risk of contagion that could have brought down and triggered runs on many banks. And that's something, given that our judgment is that the banking system overall is safe and sound, depositors should have confidence in the system, and we took these actions.
So is there any discussion that that special assessment would only apply to the larger banks, or was it always assumed the special assessment would cover every bank, including rural banks in my state?
Just gonna have to move on.
If we have a collapse of the banking system and its economic consequences, that will have very severe effects on banks in Oklahoma that will also be threatened.
I'm just worried about the long, I'm just worried about the
You know,
long-term.
We are gonna have to
consequences
move
our
on.
banks.
And we know from the notes of the Federal Reserve, a guy named Richard Fisher, the president of the Federal Reserve of Dallas, argued this in the room constantly. He said, by doing this quantitative easing, which you're just flooding the zone with liquidity, we will save the institutions. And we will save anybody that's a big real estate holder or a hedge fund or bank. But he said, there's a huge reverse here. Number one, savings accounts, you're going to go to zero interest rates. Savings accounts are going to go to zero. So 5,000 years of the Western tradition back to the Marty Bannons, which is be a good householder. Get a wife, get a mortgage, get some kids, and you save your money. Well, now if you save money, you're a sucker because it's broken the trust. That's the trust is broken. If you save money, you're a jerk. because you're not going to get any interest rate. In fact, the banks are going to charge you. So there's been no, you can't put money away to save into the system. Number two, the pension funds. The pension funds are going to be destroyed. Today, we have a $9.5 trillion gap between the obligations of the pension funds and what we've earned off the pension funds. Why? Because it went to zero interest rates, and the bonds that they can buy have no juice in them. Right. The other thing is public schools and all this. Even communities that are not leveraged can't issue bonds because there's no juice in the bonds because the negative interest rate is 1.5%. We've essentially put the burden on the bailout on the working class and middle class. That's why nobody owns anything.
Right.
But the millennials today are nothing but 19th century Russian serfs. They're better fed. They're better clothed. They're in better shape. They have more information than anybody in the world at any point in time. But they don't own anything. They're not going to own anything. Okay. And they're 20%. If you mark in time against their parents, they're 20% behind in their income. And there's no pension plan in the future. They're all gig economy. We've literally destroyed the middle class in this country.
Okay.
And both political parties, by the way, this is not about Republicans and Democrats.
Right.
This is the way the system works, and this is the way the system comes together to protect itself and to move itself forward. Okay.
Look, man, I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just finding content out here that's interesting. As a millennial, it's pretty interesting. I plan to own things, but again, the plan is not for us to own. The plan is for us to rent. If you look at where we are right now, they're building up these tiny home communities. There's a guy named Booker T here in Atlanta that has built up multiple tiny home, built up a huge tiny home community here in the Atlanta metro area. And it's just really, it's really interesting to see how everything has shifted, right? We don't want a whole lot of land. We don't want a whole lot of, space. We want everything looks the same. I feel like we're in Whoville, right? Just a lot of the homes that I'm seeing looking the same around here. So it's really interesting to see how times have changed, especially being a millennial, because the Gen Z or Gen X or whatever. Yeah, I think it's Gen Z or whatever that next age range is. They're not going to remember any of this stuff. You know what I mean? And they're going to know, all they're going to know is rent. They're not going to know to really purchase things. They're not going to even it's going to be really tough, y'all. So moving on. So some of the top ETF applications, because we've been talking about it, and I found this article because I know kind of just figuring out who all are the companies that have applied for the spot ETF market for Bitcoin. You have BlackRock, okay, who was the first to file the application. The second was another one is Wisdom Tree, a New York-based asset manager. And they've already has an experience of running a Bitcoin ETF, which launched in Switzerland. You have Invesco, Galaxy Bitcoin ETF. Galaxy Digital and Invesco filed a joint Bitcoin ETF September 22nd. Okay. You have Valkyrie Investments, which we talked about. Okay. Filed their first application in 2021. Okay. And then you have also ARK Investment with Kathy Wood. And y'all know who Kathy Wood is, or at least you should. Okay. And she partnered with Swiss-based ETF provider 21 Shares AG to offer the ARK 21 Shares Bitcoin ETF. Okay. Now, those are the ones that are currently, on the table. There are a couple that have failed. You have Global X, which failed, Cryptoin, which failed, right? Fidelity and Wise failed. First Trust and Skybridge failed. NYDIG and Stone Ridge failed. One River failed. Galaxy Digital by itself also failed. Grayscale was one of the biggest ones that failed. Okay. VanEck. So there's a bunch of way more failures, right, in the market. There's way more failures than there are people who are actually up to actually win on this application process. BlackRock, it really starts to come down to whether the government can really say no to BlackRock. because they're the largest asset manager in the world, with over 9 trillion in assets under management. I think it's made it to the point that they cannot say no. The world cannot say no to BlackRock because of how powerful they are. So if BlackRock says, hey, we now see an opportunity for us to jump in because Coinbase, because of the Coinbase lawsuit, because of the Binance lawsuit, it now becomes, it makes sense for us to jump out there and push our application. The question is, out of these 5 or 6, who will be the winner? Who will get that first chance to push a Bitcoin ETF spot market to the actual market? And I truly believe that it will be BlackRock. There is no competition. Everybody else will come after BlackRock, okay? Also, the IMF, right, has suddenly flipped its stance on crypto, okay? And they're starting to push a lot of things dealing with crypto. We're seeing that with the IMF. We're seeing that with the BIS. And so that moves us into the FedNow system. And so one of the biggest partners for the FedNow system, okay, and if you know, you guys should know what the FedNow system is by now, basically replacing things like Cash App, replacing things like PayPal, and even Zelle, okay? And now you have FedNow, which is digital programmable money. Pay attention.
Real-time payments are here to stay. But is your financial institution ready for this revolution? With Volante Technologies as your trusted payments modernization partner, you can easily meet this challenge to change. And now, Volante offers the easiest and quickest way to FedNow. You can have your 24/7 year-round service up and running without core changes, letting you focus on building better customer-centric services faster than your competition. Volante's FedNow solution is available both on-premise and as a service in the cloud. It's ISO 20022 native with built-in real-time capabilities and active deployment, a modern solution built for an ever-changing payments world. And Volante makes it easy for you to get to market quickly with over 300 APIs and services available right here, right now. Best of all, Volante's solution for the FedNow service is extensible to ACH, Fedwire, Swift Cross-Border, and TCH RTP, all built to grow with your business. Volante's secure and reliable payment services keep yours and your customers' data private. They are ISO 27001, SOC 1, and SOC 2 certified. And did you know, Volante processed the first U.S. real-time payment, and today they handle millions of transactions per year. That's impressive. Start your FedNow journey with Volante today and gain the freedom to evolve fast.
Okay, so that ad was for institutions, right? That ad was for institutions. That ad was not for retail investors. It was not for retail. It was not for consumers, but for banks, for institutions that are looking to connect now to the FedNow system. Now, on the Federal Reserve website, announcing the FedNow pilot program. This happened January 25th of 2021. They had more than 110 organizations from the FedNow community that will participate in the pilot program. The program will support development, testing, and adoption of the FedNow service. They started this back in 2021. So if we scroll down, these are all the organizations alphabetically, in alphabetical order. If I scroll through here, y'all will see some names that you are familiar with. You see BNY Mellon, Capital One, right? Cross River Bank, Citibank, right? Finastra, every bank, everybody is on here right now, right? Look at this. Boom, 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 boom. Credit unions, JP Morgan Chase, right? But if we scroll down, we see Volante Technologies, Inc. that's a part of this. Now, it's kind of special. This is special because if you really look, I want y'all to pay attention. All of these, everybody on this list is what? Besides Volante. Every single name on this list, for the most part, is a what? Besides Volante. They're a bank. right? Most of these are banks, credit unions, okay? But Volante is a faster payment service provider, which is partnered with who? Ripple, okay? We know this for a fact, right? How do we know? Because if we go over to this document right here on their website, VolPay for cross-border payments. Ripple is a part of this, and you can clearly see it right here. Ripple, so the next generation of cross-border mechanisms, and they actually mention Ripple in the document, okay? So Volante is the official partner of the FedNow system, which will allow for them to be able to use the XRP ledger or Ripple itself to process payments. We will see on-demand liquidity go live in the United States. And we should see this lawsuit coming to an end very, very soon. Why? Because Volante processed the very first, right? And we heard him say this in the video. They processed the very first real-time payments settlement in the United States. Who do y'all think, what technology do you think they used to process this real-time payment? I'm gonna just let y'all guess, right? And if your answer was Ripple, you're absolutely right, because this is the article right here. The VolPay Ripple processor module speeds integration to the Ripple Global Settlement Network. Guys, we are in the right space at the right time. I saw someone on Twitter said that they sold their 10,000 XRP. They said they sold all 10,000 of their XRP because they are getting tired of holding, because they're getting impatient. If you're feeling that way, I want you to really think about what's the next best decision outside of holding this asset. What else do you got? What better solution do you have? Okay. Also, in this meantime, you have a lot of information coming out about JP Morgan's Onyx coin, which JP Morgan is building their own blockchain network, which, could be an issue for Ripple. However, Ripple has had years of a head start over this technology. So I would tell you guys, don't get distracted. Okay. Don't get distracted by the BS, the information that's coming out here. Yes, it's real. Yes, JP Morgan does have its own JP Morgan Chase coin that has been developed. Yes, Onyx will be a platform, but the real question is, did they create their own blockchain, or did they do just like they did with anything else and they just partnered? They did what's called white labeled, right? It's the same way in cannabis, in lotions, in CBD products, in anything. White labeling is huge. And so we're seeing the same thing happen in the blockchain space. These companies, these institutions, they're not going to, they want the clout. So they're not going to say, oh, Ripple. They're just going to say, hey, Ripple, hey, Stellar, hey, Quant, do you mind if we white label your technology and call it ours? And they're going to say, yeah, for this price, all right, and under these obligations, this is what you can do, right? And JP Morgan coin, like Michael Brent said, is for JP Morgan customers only. So it's only so big. However, remember this. Also remember this, JP Morgan Chase is a too big to fail bank. That means that there's only about 8 too big to fail banks. That means that once they truly do what they're looking to do with these regional banks, once all these regional banks is out of the game and all of us have our money over in these 8 too big to fail banks, JP Morgan Chase will be one of those. So you may end up having JP Morgan Chase because there's only going to be about 8 or 9 options for you to choose from, right? Just some food for thought, okay? We're almost done here. Elon Musk will compete with XRP with X.com. He is saying X will be 50% of the world's financial system, right? Check this video out.
Tell me the
20
story.
years.
Yeah, tell me the story about X.com.
Well, I mean, way back in the day, the idea was for X or X.com to be an all-encompassing financial services company. What or thought kind of in like a infinite information theory way to be the most efficient database for the information that is money. The way that money currently works is, from a practical standpoint, it's still mostly run on mainframes. That's still a thing for banks. It's mostly written in COBOL. It's still mostly batch processing. So actually, the financial system is very slow. It's not secure. You've got all these heterogeneous, complex databases. So if you have a real-time homogeneous database that is just like fundamentally more efficient and doesn't have all the expenses of bank buildings all over the place and bank branches and ATMs, which are increasingly kind of redundant, it can operate way more efficiently. And so essentially, if done right, the X would serve people's financial needs to such a degree that over time it would become, I don't know, maybe half of the global financial system.
Wow.
Or some big number.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the number is, but pretty big. So it would be by far the biggest sort of financial institution. But like I said, not really in the way that people are used.
X.com. So this was something that, this was a payment system. And, the website is still up there. And so this is something that Elon Musk created years ago, before 2017, you know what I mean? And so just looking at where we are now, we call it X.com, what XRP is, start to really try to figure out, is there some type of correlation there? Okay. Is there truly some type of correlation? Because I would doubt if Brad Garlinghouse didn't know Elon Musk. I highly doubt it. You know what I mean? Like, Brad Garlinghouse is in some really big rooms. I would highly doubt it if they do not know each other. And we know Elon Musk is for crypto, but he talked about Dogecoin, right? We have not seen him talk about XRP just yet, but he's talking about X.com, which is very, very similar, very, very close, right? So just some food for thought. All right. More data, family. USDC is now official on the Stellar network. Well, USDC on the Stellar network or Stellar blockchain is now officially supported by Coinbase. This was huge, especially for people who use Coinbase Commerce, businesses that, accept crypto through Coinbase Commerce, rather that, for their products, allow for customers to be with a Coinbase account to pay in their favorite crypto. The thing about this that is very important is USDC has many bridges, right? You have USDC with Cardano, you have USDC with Ethereum, you have USDC that's built on Matic, Polygon, you have USDC that's built on Stellar. And so this particular one with Stellar is very important because Stellar, as we all know, is just one of those technologies, right? Literally now what this allows for customers to do, all right, and for businesses to do is to process fiat to digital and digital to fiat on and off ramp transactions in 5 seconds max. This is huge. Okay. This will be huge for banks, fintechs, and exchanges that can leverage the infrastructure, speed, and low cost of USDC on Stellar's rails to assess and build use cases around a truly global digital dollar. All right. So USDC is the stable coin. We know that USDC is a stable coin of choice. Okay. And the last 10 minutes, I wanted to go over Quant. Okay. I know that we don't talk a whole lot about Quant. If you all remember, a couple episodes ago, I believe at my second interview, I interviewed Greg Lunt. Okay. Greg Lunt is huge on Quant. Okay. He came, and you all probably remember the interview that we did with Greg. Okay. So just keeping up with Greg's profile. He says, boom, after last week's false alarm, today the QNT team has officially released Overledger platform live to the public. Guys, this is huge. All right. Overledger gives enterprises a standardized API layer to connect their existing technology stacks to blockchains. This allows for interoperability, secure smart contracts, and enterprise-grade resilience. This is the beginning of mass adoption of Web3, and Quant is such a huge player. If you have not done your research on Quant, this is not financial advice. I would recommend that you all go and do your research, figure out if you like it, how you can invest into it, how you can put it onto some form of wallet to protect it, and get into this asset before it goes, okay, to the maximum. Because with these new partnerships, they have a partnership with the Bank of International Settlement. About to show you guys that as well, so pay attention.
The current form of money that we have today is obsolete. We've been using the same system for centuries. What we need is a new form of money that is fit for the future.
We believe the blockchain technology is the future of finance, bringing trust and transparency to any transaction. In payments, its programmability allows banks and payment firms to innovate for their customers. While in capital markets, tokenization of all kinds of asset classes is connecting issuers to deep pools of entirely new investors.
All right, so I want to pause it real quick because I battled with this problem for a while, and I'm sure there's somebody on the call that's battling with this. So I want to identify this elephant that probably is in the room right now. Okay. All of these technologies sound the exact dang on same. Y'all like, man, it's the same language. It's the same stuff. They all have the same use case. It's all the same. Drop a 7 if you've ever felt that way. Like, man, like it all sounds the same. Like, how do I know which one is the right one to put our money into? Which one is the right one to diversify into? I feel it. Believe me, I do. But if you listen to the leaders in this space, like Brad Garlinghouse, he talked about Ripple, right? Exactly. The question came up. I already know. So if we talk about it, Brad Garlinghouse said it best. Ripple is not looking to take over 100% of the financial markets. If it happened, it happened. They're looking to get a small percentage because we're talking about quadrillions of dollars. So even if there was 1 quadrillion, I don't even know the number, but what is 1% of 1 quadrillion? All right. 1% of 1 quadrillion is something crazy. All right. I can't do that math. Okay. In my mind, I can't do it right now. Maybe it's because I'm thinking and talking, but that's a lot of money. Even if Ripple had the opportunity to manage 1% of 1 quadrillion dollars, it still would be one of the largest market caps, one of the largest in the world, guys. Okay, 10 trillion. So Michael Brandt said 10 trillion. It sounds about right. I was going to say 1 trillion. 10 trillion actually said, I think that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So to infinity and beyond. That means there's 99% of this market, of this 1 quadrillion market, that has the potential to go into Quant, Stellar, VChain, just all these different XDC, all these different technologies that do the exact same thing. Why? Because governments, institutions, they don't all use, let's say, Google Teams, for instance, right? Some companies use Google Teams. Some companies use Zoom. Some companies use Skype, but they all do the same dang on thing. And they're all huge companies. Understand the exact same thing is happening right now in this space of blockchain technology. Okay? Do not allow for all of that to confuse you from the mission. The mission, if you believe in this space, is to get well diversified.
The impact of blockchain to finance is actually just as big as the impact of the internet to society. It really is transformative and changing the entire underlying architecture and the infrastructure of what we use today. Blockchain allows us to have smart money. Smart money allows us to program new types of logic, new types of functionality into money to do things that is really fit for purpose for the 21st century.
But there's a problem. Blockchain is often costly and complex to implement properly, and most enterprises lack the specialist knowledge required.
Each of the blockchain technologies is really complicated, and it's quite a niche skill, right? They were only invented a few years ago. There's not millions of developers that know this.
It's a new nascent technology that's hugely transformative, but difficult to integrate and difficult to bring into any financial institution.
Its usefulness is undermined by a lack of common standards, the inability of assets deployed on one blockchain to run on another, and the fact that bridges between networks and poorly written smart contracts can be exploited.
I founded Quant with the vision of really changing the entire architecture of our financial system. The pain points that everyone faced with blockchain technology was a barrier to its adoption. And so we set out very early on to remove all the friction, change all the perceptions of blockchain, and make it easy to integrate into any corporate or enterprise system.
Until now, we've been applying our expertise in standards, interoperability, and secure smart contracts to a few transformational projects. We've worked on national infrastructure in Italy, a cross-border payments network in Latin America, and most recently on Project Rosalind.
Project Rosalind is our collaboration with the Bank of England and the Bank of International Settlement to understand and test with the industry what a retail central bank digital currency looks like.
On the infrastructure side, we hosted the blockchain. We built the smart contracts. We exposed the smart contracts to a kind of a back-end API. So this is technical work. And we're also involved in kind of building the requirements. Right? So we spent a lot of time in workshops with all of the other folks in the project, building out how should this work. So there's a lot of detail in that. So in terms of participation, we put a lot of expertise into the project. We put a lot of experience into the project, and then we did all the technical work as well.
What we learned was there's a way we can make money, a digital pound, for example, smart. We saw firsthand participants like the Central Bank of Canada, Amazon, Barclays, MasterCard use this innovative escrow technology that we built to create new types of payments and new types of flows.
We're proud to announce that the same interoperable technology, the same expertise in blockchain and secure smart contracts, the same commitment to security and resilience that has underpinned all of our work to date is now available to anyone with the launch of Overledger platform.
We're launching Overledger platform as the enterprise standard for building on blockchain. We've taken all the experience and work that we've done for the Bank of England, Bank of International Settlement, and open that up for the rest of the industry to use.
By using Overledger between their technology and the blockchains, they've got a standardized API layer that translates all of the messages that are needed, which means that people can build faster, they can build more securely, they can build without hiring external developers, they can use their existing in-house developers. And not only that, they can connect their existing technologies. So rather than building a whole new platform, take the platform you've got and build a blockchain module for it using Overledger. You could get to market 3, 6, 9 times faster, depending on your use case.
Blockchain projects need this kind of technology. It makes the projects faster, it makes them cheaper, and it makes them last a lot longer once they're built. So Overledger platform is just a massive enabler.
Overledger is a game changer because it allows people to connect to blockchains without knowing anything about them. We have all of our APIs in a business language, so you don't have to have any expertise in blockchain to be able to connect to them. It just makes it super easy and super simple.
It's our way of creating mass adoption of the technology. It's an enterprise way to access this new innovative technology without having all the friction.
All right, y'all. So on the Digital Pound Foundation's website, Quant launches their Overledger platform. This came out today, June 27th. This is the freshest information in crypto. This is something that the world is not talking about. Instead, they're talking about everything else instead of what is really happening, right? Quant collaborates with the BIS and the Bank of the Bank of England on Project Rosalind. So what I wanted to do was I went ahead and I pulled up the actual Project Rosalind page, okay, for you all. And I'm going to share that with you right now, okay? And there's just a few things that I have to share, okay? First thing is this, okay? So they said that they're partnered with Quant, but there's only 2 sections in this entire document through the Bank of International Settlement that says anything about Quant. And it's at the very last page in the appendix. Most people won't even make it here. Project participants, collaborators, and acknowledgements, right? Vendor team, UST, Quant, right? API user group, Amazon, Bank of England, Barclays, MasterCard. Remember in that video, he talked about their partnership with Barclays, Amazon, all of these different. So again, okay, another thing that I wanted to point out was this right here, right? They don't mention Quant anywhere in this space, but they mention over ledger technology, which Quant launched today, which nobody in the world that does not know what Quant is would know what the hell over ledger technology was, even if they went in here and read this. This is what I mean by white label. They're not going to say Quant. They're going to just use the technology terms of the type of blockchain technology. Over ledger technology is a type of blockchain technology that is useful, right? So they talk about ledger API. This layer translated smart contracts into API calls and transformed API requests into a format understood by and actionable for the central bank ledger, right? The project used over ledger technology to accelerate the development of multiple central bank ledger simulations for comparison. It also enabled the project team to explore how the API could work with different types of central bank ledgers, right? Those different ledgers are different blockchain technologies that the central banks will be utilizing. Quant is such an elite technology because Quant is that API layer that can connect everything. It connects everything. It doesn't matter about it. It will connect Ripple to this bank to this bank, Amazon back to Ripple. It will connect everything simultaneously together and allow for more interoperability in the space. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to hop on Coffee and Crypto today. This has been an amazing 114th episode. We're getting close to 200 episodes. I feel it coming. All right, so we'll be at 200 episodes in no time with the consistency that we're putting in. I just want to say thank you all so much. If you do want the access to our masterclass that we did, you all can have access to this masterclass. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link here on Zoom for you all to my link tree. So please save that. If there's ever anything that you want to connect with me with, if there's anything that you all want to actually, if there's anything that you all need to, connect with me, purchase, whatever the case may be, you can connect with me on Linktree. The link is in my bio on all social medias. Please join my text group, 678-688-3251. That number is 678-688-3251. I would really appreciate being able to connect with you all, further. So if that's something that you all would like, please text me again at 678-688-3251. I truly appreciate all the love on YouTube, all the love here on Zoom. And with that being said, y'all have an amazing rest of your day. And I will see y'all on episode number 115, which will be on